Monday night, you know what it means. It means a Facebook Live. And today our guest is Yanick Jean, head coach from the Chicoutimi Saguenéens, the most winning coach of all time in the Q. Yanick, congratulations for that honor, and welcome to this interview tonight.
Thanks, Alex. Thanks for having me.
So I was just talking about you being the winningest coach in the history of the league. Let's start off with that. How does it feel being now part of the history of the league?
Honestly, it doesn't really feel any different. It's a privilege for me to work in this. It's been a privilege for me to work in this league for a long time. I feel proud of what I am right now. But meanwhile, before or after the record, don't really feel any different. It's good to have my name associated with a record like this, but it's still a league record, and I have a lot of respect for all the guys that have been working in this league. So honestly, I'm pretty much the same.
Yeah, still an athlete in your blood. The most important thing is the next game, right? Is it? That's how you see it, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, this is what we preach with our guys, with our young guys. We only want to focus on what's coming up. So maybe later on, maybe during the summer or after my career or
Yeah,
something, I'll be more in a place to to
appreciate it.
appreciate that.
Yeah, that makes sense. But still, you've played in this league as a Sags player, doing it now as a head coach. I mean, it's full circle, right? How did it feel to do it with behind the Sags bench?
It's huge, honestly. I mean, I grew up cheering for this team. I was a young kid going to games, and I hope one day I would have a chance to play in this league for this team. It happened. I played 4 years here. I was really fortunate to be home to play. Then I played pro and came back to be an assistant here for like 3 4 years. And again, I was fortunate. It was good for me too that to have to gain some experience,
Mhm.
with other teams. So I was really ready when I came here, and it was easier for me to deal with both jobs then.
Yeah, I got it. Did you have, I don't know, former players reach out to you to congratulate you? I don't know. You've coached a lot of players in this league, obviously, since you're the winningest coach. Did you have some news from former players?
Yeah, a lot, honestly. I mean, you have guys playing in the NHL, but not only that, guys that had really like a lot of success in school that became like a good asset for our society. I mean, I got like maybe 300 text message, like maybe 100, from former
Nice.
players. So it's good to see that.
Oh, that's awesome to hear. And I mean, I guess it warms your heart in some way because it means you've done something good with those players if they reach out after that, right?
I mean, it's not only that. I mean, because they text me now. Maybe it's just when we see them through the years. You always have guys coming back. We're going to say, let's say, play a game in Blainville. They come to see us. We're going to play a game in Moncton or Halifax. Guys from the Maritimes coming to see us, and they're always very respectful for what you did for us, and it's really good to have those players coming back.
This might be a hard question for you to answer, but there's a lot of coaches that going in and out of the league, and I mean, it's a hard spot to be when you're a head coach because you're always on the turntable somehow. How how do you stay that long in the league? Like, what's the secret?
I mean, I don't know. First, you need to work for good people. You need to work for people that believes in your value. That's the first thing. And second, I think that you need to adjust. You need to adapt with the young guys, with the the players. I mean, like I said in many interviews back in 20 years ago, it was like things would change every 4, 5, 6 years.
Mhm.
Now things change every month, so we really need to be able to adapt with the players, with the generation.
And what would you say? Like, we're not going to pass all the interview on you. I want to talk about your team too, but still, it's major what happened. But what would you see? What would you say you changed the most since your first time as a coach and the coach you are now?
I mean, just communicating with them. I mean,
Mhm.
I start 20 years ago, like 18 years ago. Is like, this is what you have to do, guys. Uh, right now we need to explain to them. We need to explain. I always say that when I played, we would ask the coach what we need to do. 20 years ago, players would ask us, okay, what we need to do and why we need to do that. And now in 2024, they add another question, say, are you really sure this is what we need to do? So, it's something different, but you really have to be able to adjust.
Is it a generation thing, or would you say that I don't know, because you played, so I guess you're the right person to answer. But would you say that the player today in the league know more about hockey that you guys did at that time?
Big time. All we wanted is just to play. We would go to the rink outside, just play. Skating rink. We would play on Friday and Sunday, and we would go spend all afternoon on at the ice skating outside. Now these days they spend times on the internet. They look for like new skills. They look for social. They're all over social media, so they know way more than what we used to back in the day. So you really have to be commit. You really have to be focused on what you teach, on what you show them, because they know more than what we did.
That's awesome. All right. I wanted to talk about it. Congratulations again. I think it's awesome. That's what you've done. I know you might not realize it yet, and maybe it's going to sink in a bit later, maybe years later. But it's awesome to have you in the history books of the QMJHL. Congratulations for this. All
Thank
right. Let's
you.
talk about your team now, because there's a season going on. I don't know hockey as much as you do, guys, but I think you're going to have fun in the next 2, 3 years, maybe 2 years. What's your evaluation of your team this year, and where do you see it in the next couple of years?
I mean, we made huge step forward from the way we're playing right now compared to when the year start. This is amazing, the improvement of our hockey team. We have young guys playing already top six for us. Our top six forward will still be like still have 5, 6 guys there in 2 or 3 years from now. So I mean, we were commit to play our young guys when the year start. We were really patient. We brought in like experienced leaders that would help those young guys coming along, and they did an outstanding job. Our three overage, Armstrong, Morin, and Desrosiers in the back end did an outstanding job with our young guys. And yes, we have 16 years old, but we as well have like 8, 9, 17 years old in our lineup playing. So it's good to see, but it's really good to see those young guys with their eyes like this, their ears like this, all wide open, willing to learn on a daily basis. They've done an outstanding job. I think they deserve a lot of credit for what they've done to game 60, 63 so far.
You've developed that kind of team a couple of years ago. I mean, the pandemic year, you had that team to maybe go all the way. We'll never know. That would have been an interesting years. Maybe you would have gone all the way. You had a really, really, really good team. Do you see? Maybe it's a little bit early, but do you see in the development some things that look alike those two teams, like
I'm not.
maybe the core?
I don't think it's we're doing it the same way. Back then we had to make a lot of transaction. We made trades. because we got Hervé Pinard, and we did not want to waste a good player like this at his overage year. So we went to get those Mercers, Bibo, Lavoie, Kite,
Yeah.
a bunch of guys that we need to add to our core in order to be contender. This time it's more about development. It's more about we draft those guys. What we've done is we made sure that we had early picks in the last, for 3 years, 2 years ago, last year, and this year, to make sure we have a core growing up together. So we don't think we will need as
Moves.
many
Yeah.
to do as many trades when the next time comes around.
Interesting. Okay, you talk about a young player. We're going to talk about the draft eligible a little bit later, but I want you to talk a little bit about Emile Guité. That's a 16 years old. He's actually doing pretty good on paper. What do you like of him on the ice?
Excuse me. I like first. I like his asset. I like his he shoots the puck like there's not many guys that do it. He's composed, really coachable. He's a fine young individual. He wants to learn. He knows when he makes mistakes. He doesn't want to hide. He comes back to the bench. He say, you know what, guys, that was my fault. I'll get it back. So he's really aware of what's going on around him, and that makes him like a special kid to coach. It's when you have kids like this with talent, they will succeed, and it's really good to see Emile so far evolve into our season.
As a coach, do you get, I don't know, kind of excited having a players like this at 16 years old who's almost point per game? Because I don't know if people realize how hard it is to produce at 16 years old. I mean, most of the 16 years old in the league won't have that much of a big impact in most of their teams unless they're rare talent.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough because you need to show consistency, and often at 16 you always go through a roller coaster year.
Mm-hmm.
And Guité start pretty slow because he was out with the mono for training camp, so he came back with no exhibition games, start playing game number 1 or game number 3. It took him maybe 8-10 games to adjust, but since then he's been really good for us. But he's a big guy, but he's not physically mature yet. So he deserves a lot of credit for what he's done, because what he's doing right now, don't forget, he's doing it playing against the top lines of the other team. He's doing it against the top Ds from the other team as well. So it's yes, to be able to produce at 16, it's something special. But to be able to produce at this age against the top players from every team, it's twice as good.
Yeah, I get that. What about Alex Huang, a young defenseman? A lot of people are talking about him, a good skater. What do you like of him so far?
I mean, like many guys, like many young guys we have, I like their poise. I like their confidence. They don't want to go out there being afraid to make mistakes. We often teach that, if we draft you, we draft you for a purpose. We draft you for a reason, because you have asset that you can bring to our team. You have strong things that you can make your team better. So use those assets. And our young guys like Juan, he's not afraid to skate the puck. He's not afraid to hold on to the puck an extra second to make the right play. He carried the puck with his head up. He always makes the right play with the puck. So it's really good to see him play. It's fun, not only for us, it's fun for the fans too in the stands to watch him play.
So I cover a lot of draft for my job, and I think next year is going to be a great year for the Q, and you might have a couple of players that it's going to be interesting for the draft. Talking about the draft, there's one this year. You have two guys that I know a lot of scouts are looking at. What about Maxime Massé and Thomas Desruisseaux?
I mean, Max has been outstanding second half so far. He had to learn to deal with not as much as his draft year, but willing to carry kind of thing on his shoulder first half. So I thought he put pressure on himself a little bit too much because he wanted to carry our team. Once he understood that he just needs to be part of it, he's been outstanding. I mean, he's really consistent. Again, like Guite playing against the other team's top guys. I mean, it's something at 17, and he's doing it really good so far. I'm sure offensive player like this who is willing to play both sides of the ice, to play a 100-foot game, not afraid to take hit to make plays. I think he's going to be a really good player even for the next level. So for Derviso, he's an offensive guy that hasn't finished growing up yet. His hockey sense is really good. He sees the ice really good. He only needs to put more muscles into him to make sure that he can beat the contact. He can win some battles one-on-one. Once he does that, I mean, he's gonna go another notch, and he could be a good asset for an organization at the NHL level too.
Yeah, it's interesting talking about Maxime Massé because he has been, since the Christmas break, he has been filling the net a lot. Did you actually know that talking about the prospect game, he scored 4 games, I think, in Charlottetown, and he had to do the road with Jim Olton going to the prospect game? Did you know that?
Yeah, we made fun. I said, you know what, Max, I'll make sure I go see Jimmy before. But no, it was a good story. And Jimmy was all good into it.
How would you react if it was you being scored 4 times and had to make the
I'd say just congrats, but it'd be my pleasure to bring that player along.
Yeah, I get that. That's awesome. There's good player in your team. The Sags as one of the maybe greatest lineup of the best players that got into the league. One is going to be honored this week, actually, on Friday. David Desharnais. How do you see? Do you know him a little bit? And how do you see the upcoming jersey retired?
I mean, I coached Davey as an assistant here when I started. He was there. We drafted him like second round. And he's an outstanding kid. He deserves a lot of credit for what he's done. He's a great example for every player that is playing in our league that is not maybe drafted at 17, drafted at 18. So, sometimes guys want to give up. You don't give up. Desharnais did not give up. He worked, and he deserves everything that happened to him through his career. And I'm privileged to know him personally. We stay in contact. We see each other like every year, once or twice. And I'm so happy for him. I'm so happy for the guys that played with him too. That they will have the opportunity to live the experience of a jersey retirement. So it's good to see that. And I think that a little bit like I don't know. Yannick or Harvey Pinard, those guys have more power, and in young, like a great example for guys these days, and it's always good to refer some from the example like this.
I mean, what he's done from an undrafted players and an underdog player, I mean, it's absolutely phenomenal. People maybe don't realize how much it is hard to play that much in the NHL when nobody was looking at you at some point.
Yeah, you know what? And he did it by himself. Nobody. The only person on earth that knew he was going to play in the NHL is himself.
Yeah.
So like I said, nobody did it for him. He only needed a chance, and he jumped right in there, and it's up to him.
How do you prepare a team when you know you're going to have a ceremony? Most of the time you hope that it won't be that long, but you want to be you want to honor the player just you want the ceremony to be something great for the player that is honored too. So how do you prepare your team with the delays and stuff?
I want them to enjoy. That's the main thing. Our three core values are surpass, discipline, and belonging. Belonging, it's part of it. When you have a former player having his jersey retired like this, first, enjoy, and second, make sure you respect what this guy did for the past when you play that game. So that fifth thing in our game plan is going to be respect. Like every jersey retirement or every time we have like a big thing like this was huge for the organization. This is huge for the player himself. So I want our guys to really respect that.
That's awesome. That's an absolutely fantastic answer. Yanick, that's all the time we have in English. If you don't mind, we'll do an interview in French also on the French platforms. Congratulations for being the coach with the most win in the Q history, and good luck for the rest of the season and the next couple of years.
Thanks for having me.
Yes, thanks.